live. You see they're dry. You see there's no marrow in the bone. You see they're scattered all over the valley. They ain't even full skeletons. I mean, the bones are scattered all over the valley. They're just bones. But answer me a question, Ezekiel. Can these bones live? Ezekiel answers the only way he knows how to answer. Lord, you know. Critical race theory was born out of critical legal theory. Am I teaching y'all something today? There emerged two common beliefs linking all critical race theories. First, white supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's just a fact. How in the world are you going to fight against that being taught in any school? White supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's a fact. Why don't you want that to be taught in school? You let your schools teach us that Columbus discovered America. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that George Washington couldn't tell a lie. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that some slave owners were beneficent and good slave owners. There were no good slave owners. Anybody who owned people was evil. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that Abraham Lincoln was good for Negroes. No, Abraham Lincoln was trying to save the Union. And Abe Lincoln himself said if he could save the Union and keep black people in chains, he would do it. That's a lie. Come on, somebody. You let them teach us about a white Jesus. You let them teach us that Native Americans were the aggressors. Come on, somebody. That white folk had a manifest destiny and that the pilgrims were good at Native Americans. That's a lie. All day, every day, you let them teach us lies. All throughout my history in school, I was taught lies. But you got a problem with critical race theory because it teaches the truth that white supremacy has subordinated black people and people of color. The right to bear arms. Let me just back up a little bit and let me take you on back to the late 1960s when Ronald Reagan was the governor of California. And they were oppressing black folk, and a group of men and women known as the Black Panther Party decided that they were going to defend the rights of black folk. And the Black Panthers decided that the Second Amendment wasn't just for white folk. So they strapped themselves with guns and showed up at the Capitol in California. And when they saw them Negroes with guns, come on, somebody. That's why I say if you ever really want to get gun laws changed, just strap all these Negroes up. They'll change them laws before the week is over. When the Black Panthers, watch this, I want you to read, the California legislator passed what was called the Mulford Act. It was a gun control act that decided who could get guns, who couldn't get guns, what could be in your background, what couldn't be in your background. It was the first time in history that the National Rifle Association, the NRA, supported restrictive gun legislation, all because black folk had the nerve to get strapped. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, go get strapped. Amen, somebody. Y'all gonna say Bishop told us to get strapped. I said it. Go get strapped. It just got real quiet up in here. But y'all already know I'm a triple P. Amen. Y'all know what a triple P is, right? A pistol packing preacher.
Know that, right? If it hasn't already, I've heard people say it. The dude was telling me the other day in a meeting, talking about he's a pistol packing preacher. I know he got it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm strapped. I'm strapped right now.
Thank you, Jesus.
I'm glad you told me. Yeah, but down south, I already know you know. Yeah, I remember a long time ago how the usher sitting at the door strapped. Oh my God.
Yes, sir.
No kids was going to the bathroom. Nobody was moving around or
You got
nothing.
a responsibility to go back
Georgia ain't no
to
joke.
Lodabar.
No,
Your
sir.
work's not done just because you made it to the palace.
Open carry state.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But you've got a responsibility
They
to
recommend
help
it. They
somebody
recommend
else
everybody
make
can.
it across. Thank you, Jesus.
What's good, family?
Pull up the ladder because you climbed to the top.
All right, let's get
Blow
your
up the bridge
rep
'cause
your
you
city,
made
your town in the chat.
Thank you, Jesus. But reach your hand back down the ladder and pull somebody else out of Lodabar.
All right. Go home, rest and relax now. We check you out, Bishop.
All right.
Thank you, Jesus.
All right, tell a friend, tell somebody we live right now. Let's get it. Let me get this link up in my stories. Folk know where to find me at.
That's the name of the Lord. Somebody got to tell themselves it's all right if you got it now. Just hold it for me. I'll be there to get it after a while.
Let's go, let's go.
That's the name of the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. You've got to make up in your mind that what God has for me, it is for me. I might not have it right now. I may not get it next week. You might try to stop me from getting it.
All right,
But
here we
if
go.
God said it's mine, I want you to know after a while, I'm going to get what belongs to me.
Happy Monday.
Sometimes God got to strip
What's good with you?
so you don't depend on yourself. He got to take away from you so you understand how to depend on El Shaddai. Come on in here.
A little warm in the studio. Got warm outside and they still got the heat on. So it is what it is.
Thank you, Jesus.
I'm just in here sweating.
Young people are dying.
It's getting hot in here, but I'm going to keep on all my clothes.
Suicide.
Good morning, Mother Beard. Good morning, New Jersey. Good morning, 413 in the house. Good morning, Houston. I knew y'all was there even before I seen it. Good morning, good morning. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you are chiming in from. Y'all know how we do. Y'all know how we do. Today we talking about ain't no more invitations to the cookout. That's it. We're revoking all the cookout invitations. No more black passes, no more N-word passes, none of that stuff. Because y'all finding out exactly where all y'all allies stand. Okay? Y'all finding out when push come to shove and they got to choose between supporting white supremacy or supporting black people, y'all see exactly where they are.
The reason we hate is because what we think we are.
Y'all see it. Don't act like you don't. 90.7 WTCC. Good morning and welcome to the Spoken Word. I'm your host, Bishop Talbert Swan II. And as usual, we'll be telling it like it is through cultural idioms and nuances that shape the order, ethos, and chaos of the African American experience. Words have their own vitality. They shape their own consciousness and create their own context for interpreting social and spiritual reality. The spoken word contains the power to reshape the landscape of society. 6 minutes past the hour of 9 a.m. 6 minutes, 6 minutes, 6 minutes. Talbert Swan, you're on. I know y'all got to be old to understand that hip hop reference. But in any case, I want to thank Elder Rick Robinson for bringing us up until the 9 o'clock hour with that Monday morning inspiration. Great way to start out your week. You can hear Elder Rick every Monday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., bringing you the best in gospel music. And boy, man, what a week it's been. I mean, a lot of crazy stuff has been happening. Marco Rubio is showing his tail. He's the kind of Cuban that his ancestors left Cuba to get away from. He's just regurgitating foolishness. They're revoking people's visas because they protested. This is the administration that claims that it has brought, he said in his joint session before Congress that they brought free speech back. This is the hypocrisy that's going on. He said they brought back free speech and they are deporting people and revoking their visas for exercising free speech. They're not deporting terrorists. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, being anti-genocide is not pro-Hamas. Somebody ought to put that in the comment section for me right now. I need y'all to participate now. Act like I'm preaching a sermon right here. Somebody put that in the comment section. Being anti-genocide does not equal pro-Hamas. But let me tell you what Columbia University did. They expelled, suspended, and revoked the degrees of students who peacefully protested against genocide. America is a fascist nation. Don't believe all the hype about the freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff, because if you get to a point where you're revoking college degrees because students protested genocide. I said something at my church, yesterday that I'll repeat here, that my concern goes far above and beyond me and my generation. I'm old enough now, approaching my 60th birthday next month. I know I don't look a day over 35. It's in the genes, y'all. And no, I never dyed my hair a day in my life. Anyway, I got less days ahead of me than I have behind me. I'm concerned for my children and my grandchildren in terms of the world that they will be living in the next 10, 15 years. I'm very concerned about it. I couldn't imagine being expelled from school, having my degree revoked because I exercised the right to free speech in America. That's crazy. That we're supposed to be making steps forward, not going backwards. I was on college campus at the University of Massachusetts protesting against South African apartheid. Marco Rubio was talking about they took over buildings. They vandalized buildings. What the hamburger do you think they did on January 6th? We got the video evidence. They busted the windows open, broke down doors. They defecated and urinated in the building. They damaged property. They murdered a police officer. They injured other police officers. They threatened to kill the vice president, but they deserve to get pardoned. But the students who protested genocide deserve to have their degrees revoked and their student status suspended and expelled? Are you kidding me? We took over a building 40 years ago. We took over the administration building and demanded that the chancellor immediately sign an agreement to divest out of South Africa, or we weren't giving the building up. I couldn't imagine if we had gotten expelled from school or had our degrees revoked for that. This is what in less than 2 months. Trump hasn't even taken an oath of office 2 months ago. In less than 2 months, this is where America is. In less than 2 months. And we got 4 years of this madness. Where are your allies, ladies and gentlemen? Where they at? They not in the Democratic Party. It ain't Chuck Schumer and them who just signed on to the draconian spending bill that cut vital services to the most vulnerable Americans. The Democrats folded. And I told y'all that when it comes to whether or not they'll give up their privilege or their proximity to power or fight for issues that are important to Black people and non-white people, they will choose white supremacy every time. That's why we don't have no allies. We're in this on our own. And so I'm looking at every one of y'all sideways who's still giving out cookout invites because somebody that's non-melanated did the Dougie or did the WAP or had some rhythm when they did the Kendrick Lamar dance. No more cookout invitations. Somebody put that in the comment section. No more cookout invitations. No more black passes. No more black passes. No more N-word passes, especially to these white evangelicals. Paula White is up begging for money, telling y'all that if you don't lock in and give her money, you're going to miss God's prophetic voice and you're going to miss out. She's using this presidential appointment as a way to grift and get money. She's used the Black community, and so many of these so-called white Christians have used the Black community, and because they could tune up with a Hammond B3 behind them, because your Rod Parsleys and your Paula Whites could mimic the Black cadence and preaching style, y'all gave them passes to the cookout. Let them in our churches. Let them in our spaces. No more. Somebody come on, put that in the comment. No more cookout invitations. No more passes. That's our subject. Tell somebody the bishop is on the air right now. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. 413-736-2781. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
But the end of the road is change. The being in the road would be the end of the road if you refuse to change. Reach a little higher, reach a little higher, dig a little deeper, dig a little deeper, go a little further, go a little further. Come on, come on, come on. Reach a little higher, come on, yeah. little deeper, dig a little deeper, go a little further, go a little further. Come on, don't stop.
Gotta crack a window. They got me burning up in here.
But the essence of growth is change. The being in the road will be the end of the road if you refuse to change. Your life will never change until you get disgusted with where you are. Whatever you don't hate is what you tolerate. You must learn from the past.
All right, let's go.
And live for today. For it is your daily
I see you, New Orleans.
success or failure in life. It's the choices that you have made up to this point that will determine the rest of your life. So break the cycle that doing enough is simply good enough. You only get out what you put in, so don't settle for the crumbs when you can have a whole loaf. So push yourself beyond your limitations. Come on. Reach a little higher. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Don't stop. Don't stop. Come on. Reach a little higher. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Go a little further. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. So you gotta break the routine of trying to beat the system. Manipulators will always try to bypass the process for the quick progress. There are no shortcuts to success. There are no elevators to the top. You gotta take it one step at a time. You gotta break the routine of allowing others to get into your head to control who you are and where you're going. You see, when you're about the positive, you're gonna always have haters. But don't let your haters push you down, let your haters push you forward to the next level. So when people show you who they really are, don't perceive them to be something else that they're not. See, a zebra does not change his stripes. So you gotta keep pushing yourself to the next level. Yeah, there you go. Come on. A little deeper. Come on. Yeah. Go a little further. Go a little further. Don't stop. Come on. Don't stop. Come on. Yeah. Reach a little higher. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Go a little further. Don't stop. Come on. Come on. Come on. You gotta understand the greatness is the nature that you were born out of. You'll never discover your greatness without hard work and dedication. Greatness says more about who you are and what you expect for yourself. And greatness will always attract greatness. Show me your friends and I'll show you the future. The future. You just a step away.
I look in the mirror and I like what I see. A strong, beautiful black woman staring back at me. One who's seen a lot of pain and had her share of sorrow, but who never gave up hope for a brighter tomorrow. I've been lied to, cheated on, stolen from and hit, but it just made me stronger and I refuse to quit. That's right. And though I've been tempted, I refuse to stoop to their level. Don't go down. I rose above that nonsense and made a liar of the devil. All right now. The devil who said I wasn't good enough, cute enough, or worthy of love, I kicked his butt with divine power from above. Power that says I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me, and brought me out of darkness so that I could see that I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm a child of the King. Abundant love for me, he came to bring. Oh yes, when I look in the mirror, I love what I see. She's looking good. That strong, beautiful black woman, that woman is me.
90.7 WTCC. Good morning. Welcomes to another edition of the Spoken Word. I asked the question, is the 413 in the house? If you're in the building, shout me out, 413. Where is the ATL? Where is the Shy? I know Houston is in the building for show. Let's see who else we got up in here. We got New Jersey in the building. We got Los Angeles in the building. We got Jacksonville, Florida in the building. We got Quebec, Canada in the building. Come on, y'all, get that in there. No more passes. No more passes. No more cookout invitations. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Orange, New Jersey in the building. Charlotte, North Carolina. Raleigh, North Carolina. Kansas City, Missouri is up in the building. Another H-Town. Chicago in the building. Spring Hill, Florida. Another Charlotte, North Kakalaki. Pennsauken, New Jersey in the building. Another Houston up in the building. The field is here. Some more Houstons are in the building. Where y'all at over here on the gram? Cleveland, Ohio is in the building. London is in the building. There's my ATL. I knew y'all was here from somewhere. ATL. New Orleans is in the building. Winston-Salem, North Carolina is in the building. Long Island is in the building. New York City boss is in the building. Yeah, I got another Long Island. Long Island is strong up in here today, y'all. Yes. Good morning to each and every one of you that are in here. Cleveland again in the Cincinnati is in the house. Who else is up in here? Good morning. Good morning to everybody from everywhere who is in the building this morning. Good morning, caller. Up that call. We hang up that. Good morning to everybody. Y'all can chime in the Twitter space. Put it in the comment section. Let me know exactly where you are chiming in from. We get into our conversation. Hey, baby girl, I see you. I see my daughter from the Shy is up in the building. No more cookout passes. None of that. No more black passes. None of that is happening. Let me show you a sermon clip from yesterday. I always try to give you a little something, and then we'll get into our conversation about no more black passes. Let me check this phone one more time. Make sure it's not a telemarketer again. Yeah, there we go. Somebody keeps robocalling here. Anyway, so let me do this. We won't be answering the phones. Y'all keep playing on it. Stay with us. Here's a little clip from yesterday. The title of yesterday's sermon was "When Dumb Dogs Refuse to Bark." That's from Isaiah, the 56th chapter, 10th and 11th verses. Y'all to check that out. When dumb dogs, dogs supposed to be guarding your house, supposed to be guarding your property, and they let the intruders come in and do whatever. When dumb dogs refuse to bark. Don't go nowhere. We're coming right back.
Don't get quiet on me now, because we got to deal with the complicity of our so-called Christian brothers and sisters. I want to know, where is the so-called moral majority? Where are the evangelicals who quote scripture to condemn same-sex couples but stay silent while the government strips aid from hungry families? I'm preaching real good right now. Where are the prophets who marched for unborn fetuses but turned their heads on living, breathing black and brown babies that suffer in poverty? Where was their holy indignation when the son of a Klansman and the apartheid baby gutted services, when they slashed rent subsidies, when they sabotaged Social Security, when they laid waste to medical aid for veterans? I'll tell you where they were. They were asleep. That's the reason why they got so many problems with y'all being woke. Y'all ain't gonna help me preach in here now. The reason they don't want y'all woke, because they want y'all sleeping while they steal America. And let me say something to you, for those of you who talk about we need to take America back. You ain't never owned it in the first place. We're living on stolen land in the first place. You came and took the land from indigenous people. Then you enslaved folk to work the land, to make the land rich, and to fill your pockets. No, when you talk about take America back, you want to take something back, going back to Europe. Take Poland back. Take Italy back. Take Australia back. Go on back to the Caucasoid Mountains. Take all of that back.
Yeah, take that back. Take all of that back, because y'all didn't build this. It is what it is. This was built off the back of enslaved labor. And y'all know it. Don't want to admit it, but you know it. My gram just went off. I don't know what's happening there. We're gonna get it back on. Um, yeah. It was built off the backs of enslaved black folks. And brothers and sisters, we gotta stop letting these folk just say this crazy stuff to us when we know that it's nonsense. It's nonsense. We gonna take America. You gonna take it back from who? I mean, tell that to the Navajo. Tell that to the Cherokee. Tell that to the folk whose land you stole. That you gonna take America back. You know, how do you get to take back what you stole? You know, they have this saying, take back what the devil stole from you. That they're saying is, we're going to take back what we stole and other people built. Like, really, y'all? Yeah. Where they do that at? Anyway, 413-736-2781. 413-736-2781 is the number here. If you want to chime in on the conversation. I think I'm back on the gram. Thank you, those of you who are joining back in on the gram. Good morning, caller.
Chime in on the conversation.
Caller, turn your radio down.
Thank you, those of you who are joining back in on the gram.
Okay, y'all got to turn your radio down. I can't take 10 minutes while y'all fiddle and figure it out. You got to turn your radio down when you call in because there's a delay and you'll get confused and you'll think I'm talking from your radio as opposed to on the phone. Good morning, caller. There we go. The telemarketers again. Good morning, caller. Okay, I didn't know he had a black power sign, but okay. 413-736-2781, 413-736-2781 is the number here. So I think this is from 2020 to now is a cautionary tale. From the time we were out on the streets protesting the let me do something real quick here. Protesting the George Floyd murder. I think we found out something because there was a real dynamic that was happening during the George Floyd situation. Remember, Trump was in office. Not only was Trump in office, there was a desperate fight going on in terms of the presidential election in 2020. Democrats wanted to take back the White House, et cetera, and they were dependent on black folk to help them do it, of course. And people were all out on the streets protesting. And we had literally nationwide support in terms of the protest. People from all walks of life. As soon as Biden and the Democrats got in office, all of a sudden, all of that allyship dissipated. Y'all ain't seen none of your friends, and let's just be honest, you ain't seen none of your 2020 protest friends hitting them streets with you since then, have you? Let's just Let's just be honest. Have you seen any of your 2020 protest friends hit the streets with you since that time? Most of you all will have to be honest and say, hell no to the no, no, no. Hell to the no. You haven't seen them. And there's a reason. There's a reason. Because you have to question whether they were ever really allies in the first place. And that hence the saying when we talk about the difference between allies and accomplices. Because allies opt in and opt out whenever it's convenient. Accomplices are willing to lose something. You don't have too many accomplices. Got a whole bunch of folks who purport to be allies and have always done so that they can benefit from Black culture, Black support, Black money, Black ingenuity, and never really have to opt out of their white privilege. And there comes a time when we have to stop mistaking proximity for solidarity. Because somebody grew up around Black folk. Because somebody eats greens. Because a dude gets on Arsenio Hall and plays the saxophone, and then y'all start calling him the first Black president. Yeah. It's time to grow out of that foolishness. Because too many of us in the Black church and just in Black society in general have been far too generous in extending honorary Black passes. Y'all know what those are, right? Y'all know what Black passes are? Black passes are those symbolic invitations to our culture. Those symbolic invitations to our churches, to our pulpits, to our cookouts, to our family reunions, to our sacred spaces. And we have given those symbolic invitations to white evangelical figures, to white politicians, to white friends from the neighborhood who have no real love for us, our people, or our liberation. These so-called allies, they speak our language. Yeah, just look at crazy, I call him Remy from Higher Learning, the movie, Mike Rappaport, who's a diehard racist, a diehard Zionist, and a racist. But, because he likes A Tribe Called Quest and did a documentary on him because, he hung out with some Black people and all that kind of stuff. They gave him a pass, because they speak our language, because they can recite a few hip hop songs. They sing our songs. They mimic our cadence. And please don't let them dance on beat. Don't let them do the Dougie, the wop, the wobble. None of that stuff. Because they get a pass then. They get an invitation to the cookout. All of the hoopla over the Kendrick Lamar halftime show. White folks lost their ever-loving mind over that halftime show, but didn't look all over social media. All over TikTok and Instagram and everywhere. You got white folks. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Like, hold on, I thought y'all didn't like that. And then as soon as some white person does it on beat, they get to come to the cookout. They get to come to the cookout. But when the music stops, when the lights come up, they ain't standing with us in the fight for justice. They're standing with power, with privilege, and with white supremacy. And we've allowed too many into our community simply because they've mastered the performance of black culture. They've mastered the performance of black culture, but they still harbor the politics and the theology that actively harm black lives. Paula White is a classic example. And she's not an anomaly. She's a prototype. Somebody put that in the comments. Paula White is not an anomaly. She is a prototype. Her story is a cautionary tale of what happens when black folks prioritize performance over prophetic discernment. She was elevated in black church spaces by high-profile, powerful figures in our religious circles, like Bishop T.D. Jakes. She was handed legitimacy by people whose experience she could never truly understand. And yet, she used the legitimacy that black people gave her not to speak truth to power, but to gain access to the corridors of imperial dominance. Now she is Trump's senior faith advisor and a gatekeeper to policies that crush the same community that embraced her and made her famous. Matter of fact, the church she pastors was a church founded by a black man named Zachary Timms, that she's now turned into an evangelical bastion of white supremacy. How did we get here? How did we confuse performance with partnership? How did we allow white evangelical Christianity, white political perspectives, which have always been deeply embedded in the machinery of racism and empire, to masquerade as gospel truth within our own sanctuaries and sacred spaces? And part of the answer lies in our collective trauma. There's a book out there called Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. I'd advise you to get it and to read it. The black church has long been a place of healing, of inclusion, and welcome, but our generosity has been weaponized. Our pain has been misappropriated. Our spiritual openness has been mistaken for gullibility, and we've internalized the idea that forgiveness must come quickly and that we must loose our boundaries. That's the reason why every time there's a tragedy involving black people, there's always this conversation about whether or not the black people who have been wronged forgive the white perpetrators. Even when they don't ask it, we offer it. In the wake of the Charleston murder, black families got out talking about forgiving Dylan Roof, who had never gone to trial or taken accountability for what he did. Both and John's brother got up in court and went and hugged his brother's murderer in front of the whole world. A young man in New York who was falsely accused of sexually assaulting a white woman, saying he grabbed her behind, which never happened. But the reporters put a microphone in front of him and asked if he forgave her. That's always the question when it comes to black people being wronged, being wrongfully convicted of crimes they didn't commit, being wrongfully accused of crimes they didn't commit, being the victims of their family members being brutalized, raped, or murdered. They stick a microphone in front of our faces and ask us, do we forgive? That's that whitenized, slaveholder evangelical Christianity that tells black folk to forgive them for their atrocities against us. But then their motto is to never forget. And see, brothers and sisters, grace without accountability is not godliness, it's self-destruction. We don't have a timeline on when we need to forgive or if we have to forgive. You murder my mama, I dare you to put a microphone in front of me asking me if I forgive. Hell to the no. I said it. And those of you all who monitor my social media and you want to run and tell the higher ups, listen to what Bishop Swan said, go on and tell it. I said what I said. Forgiveness is a process. I believe in the biblical concept of forgiveness, more so for the person than for the person who perpetrated the wrong. It's beneficial for the person to let go. But it's a process. You don't get to murder my family member and 10 minutes later, before anybody has even been put on trial or held accountable, asking me if I forgive. Y'all don't ask white folk that foolishness. Y'all didn't ask not one white family that was a victim of 9/11, did they forgive? It's been over 20 years. Y'all still ain't asked them. 10 minutes after somebody's mama get murdered, y'all asking them if they black, did they forgive? That was a conversation when 10 black people were murdered at Tops Supermarket in Buffalo. Y'all were having conversations about whether or not they forgave. This has theological roots in deception. See, because the Jesus that we know, the one who was born under imperial occupation, the one who overturned tables, the one who sided with the oppressed and who died a revolutionary death, is not the Jesus that they preach about. It ain't the same one, y'all. And that's where you make your mistake in thinking that Paula White and Kenneth Copeland and Vicky Yohe and Robert Jeffress and all these white evangelicals thinking that they are preaching about the same Jesus we preach. They ain't preaching about the same Jesus. Their Jesus is a white dude who's MAGA. That ain't the Jesus of the Bible, and that's not the Jesus that we preach about. We preach about the sable-skinned revolutionary. Their Jesus is one of conquest, one of capitalism, one of culture erasure, particularly your culture. Their Jesus props up the empire and affirms patriarchy and blesses injustice. Their Jesus is the mascot of white nationalism disguised in Christian robes. And the danger is that many of us, tired from centuries of struggle, are willing to accept messages of hope, even if it comes from the mouths of those who benefit from our oppression. But what kind of hope can come from those who voted for and now spiritually advise a president who demonizes migrants, who hates black people, who defunds public education, who abolishes diversity initiatives, who promotes policies that exacerbate the suffering of poor black communities? We got to stop confusing emotionalism with empowerment. Just because somebody can holler, can modulate, can mimic our preaching, can speak in tongues, can dance a little bit, can sing a little bit, don't mean that they are our allies. It doesn't mean that they've been sent by God. Judas knew how to speak the language of discipleship, but his heart was aligned with betrayal. Got to let that sink in. And we got to ask ourselves, how many black, when I think about the Paula Whites and the Vicky Yohis of the world, how many black clergy women have been overlooked, dismissed, and denied, while white women like Paula White were handed microphones and ministry platforms in the black church? How many of your black pastors invited Paula White to come in and preach to their people, but wouldn't invite a black female preacher to the same setting? Arsenio Hall used to say things that make you go, How many powerful black female voices were silenced so that whiteness could be centered in your sanctuaries? How many times have we chosen their white spectacle over our black sisters? I'm preaching real good right now. Somebody ought to say, preach, Bishop, in the comment section. And this is not about just theology. It's about survival. It's about who gets to shape the narrative of what it means to be Christian, and whether our worship will be a weapon of liberation or a tool of oppression. And so let me suggest to you that the time has come that we got to draw a firm line. No more cookouts. Somebody, I'll put that in the comment section again. No more cookouts. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to say it. No more cookouts. Okay? No more cookouts. We not having y'all go to no more. No. Did I say no more cookouts? No more cookouts. No more pulpits. Somebody put that in there too. No more pulpits. I don't want to see another white evangelical who preaches blonde-haired MAGA Jesus invited to another black pulpit. No more cookouts, no more pulpits, no more passes. Put that in the comment section. No more passes. We got to reclaim our sacred spaces. We got to reclaim our sacred spaces. And let me drop this line on you, because here's where I spit some bars. Yeah, somebody put bars. Hashtag BARZ. Bars. Okay? They say they're colorblind, that the gospel is colorblind. Let me drop this bar on you. The gospel is not colorblind. It's justice colored. That'll preach right there. I think I'm gonna make that into a sermon and preach that coming up soon. Somebody put that bar in there right there. The gospel is not colorblind, it's justice colored. Let me say it one more again. The gospel is not colorblind, it's justice colored. Bars. I should drop the mic and just walk out the studio right here, but I got 10 minutes left. 413-736-2781. And let's be clear. Any gospel that does not call out white supremacy is no gospel at all. Any gospel that does not call out white supremacy is no gospel at all. The late, great James Cone said, any authentic theology must affirm that God is on the side of the oppressed. Good morning, caller. Okay, I keep getting these robocalls. God is on the side of the oppressed. So let me before I get out of here, I got to give you some action steps because I can't just rant and not give you some steps to move forward with. So first, what's the black pass? Somebody put that question in the comment section. What is the black pass? The black pass is the cultural phenomenon of inviting problematic white people into black spaces simply because they perform blackness or express religious sentiments. Okay. Paula White is the case study today in exploitation. Her rise came through black church platforms. But then she chose to align herself, after black people elevated her, with Trump and white nationalist policies. Her role in the faith office does nothing for black communities. Her betrayal of the black audience that built her career is reprehensible. There is a danger of performative Christianity. How they co-opt black spirituality without embracing black liberation. White folks who are singing about Jesus are not necessarily serving our Jesus. And there's a difference between the Jesus of the Bible and the Jesus of white evangelicalism. Right? You got to understand the difference between Jesus, the revolutionary liberator, versus Jesus, the mascot of white power. Another lesson is there's a danger and there's a cost of forgiving too quickly. Our overabundance of giving grace can enable harm to our people. And let me say this, somebody put this in the comment section because this one you really need, okay? Accountability must precede reconciliation. That'll preach right there. Accountability must precede reconciliation. Let me say that one more time for the Holy Ghost. Accountability must precede reconciliation. So let me just give you 3 quick action steps, and y'all put this in the comment section and go back and refer to it and share it with your friends and all that stuff. I'm gonna give you 3 action steps before I get off the air. Step number 1. Stop platforming problematic white figures. Okay? That's step number 1. Matter of fact, I'm going to make sure it gets in there. Stop platforming problematic white figures. Did I get that right? Probably one of the most valuable classes I ever took was typing in the 2nd grade. It still benefits me to this day. That's step number 1. Y'all can put it in there as well. Stop platforming problematic white figures. Action step number 2. You got to teach theological and political discernment. Teach our people how to discern. Discernment is a gift. You got to be able to discern when somebody's playing us. Because I'm telling you, these folk have played us for years. The Rod Parsleys and the Paula Whites, they've played the black community for years. They didn't play some of us because some of us saw through them. I saw through Rod Parsley over 20 some odd years ago and still watch black people platform this guy. That's step number 2. Step number 1, stop platforming problematic white figures. 2, teach theological and political discernment. And then step number 3, we've got to recenter our pulpits and our politics around prophets, not performers. When I say prophets, I ain't talking about prophesying about a house and a car. I'm talking about speaking the prophetic voice, with a prophetic voice, speaking truth to power. Okay? Okay? Recenter, make that the center. Recenter our pulpits and our politics around prophets, not performers. We got a whole lot of performers, not a whole lot of prophets, not a whole lot of folk that speak truth to power. We got to recenter it. Tune in Friday. I'll be back. It's going to be a long 4 years, y'all. I guess I'm going to turn all of my radio programs into teaching sessions and calls to action in terms of where we need to go at this point in time. So tune in Friday to the Black Love Experience. I'll be right back here at 9 o'clock a.m. on Friday on the Black Love Experience. Coming up at 10 o'clock is mid-morning jazz and great black music. So keep it locked right there. If you're looking for a good place to worship, you can check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, 35 Alden Street, Bishop Talbert Swan Way. I'm finally getting used to saying my name on the street, Bishop Talbert Swan Way. The Brick Church right there at 6 Corners, 11 o'clock a.m. every single Sunday morning. Prayer, praise, and preaching. We're building better tomorrows by changing lives today. Let me see, what is today's date? Today is the 17th, so I won't be back on the air until the 21st. So let me shout out my wife, whose birthday is in 2 days on the 19th. I ain't gonna tell you how old she is. She's younger than I am. So happy birthday to Lady Cynthia Swan. Happy birthday to, happy heavenly birthday to my late sister, Rhonda Swan, who would have had her 61st. She was a year older than I am. Would have had her 61st on the 15th, on Saturday. I used to tease her because she was born on the Ides of March, the day Julius Caesar was assassinated. So happy heavenly birthday, big sis. Happy birthday to my little sister who thinks she's my boss, Frida Malone, who had a birthday on the 9th. Happy birthday to my twin sons, Tyler and Trey, who had a birthday on the 10th. Happy birthday to my oldest grandson, Jonah, who has a birthday on the 20th. Happy birthday to everybody who was born in March. To all of the March babies, happy birthday to you. Somebody put it in the comment section. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, March babies. Happy birthday to you. Next up are the April babies. That's me, y'all. The 24th. It's a big one for me. The April babies are up next. I even got 2 grandkids. You know, for a long time, I had no children or grandchildren who shared April. I was like the only one in the whole family in April. So I was like, I guess I'm just unique like that, and and I don't get to celebrate with anybody else, and yada 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 yada. But now I got 2 grandsons who share April birthdays, not the same day, but they're April babies. My son Noah is born in April, and my grandson Noah and my grandson Messiah, who are also born in April. So we're up next. April babies is up next. The season of the Taurus is coming. All right. I'm going to be a mess all April, y'all. Anyway, I got to get out of here. Until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember God loves you, and so do I. Peace and blessings. May sound crazy.
Yeah. This one is for all the brothers that passed, but more particularly one because it affected me drastically. I remember my sister gave me the call and I was in awe. Matter of fact, it felt the farthest from reality. She seen somebody post RIP with his name, and I said I doubt it's the same friend I had since the 7th grade. She said I'ma call his sister and double check, and called me back, said he hanged himself in his room and had been there for days. Initially it didn't hit me, then it clicked, and I remembered that I hadn't seen or heard from the homie all week. Wish he had told me what had him feeling lonely and weak. I guess everybody got demons we don't even speak of, cause I was with him exactly a week before the call. Just under 20, he couldn't even purchase alcohol. My best friend for like 6 or 7 years. I'm not ashamed to say I shedded plenty tears, but it was hard. He was somebody I had plenty memories with. The first person I ever burned any trees with. The worst feeling is knowing that you would leave us in all this grievance without a reason. One of the first people to ever believe in me. When it came down to it, you knew you could call me if you needed me. Cause that information I wouldn't have ever imagined. It's sad thinking about it. I ain't happy that it happened,
But it made me.
There was plenty times when I thought that it would
Drive me crazy.
But looking back on it, now I see all the time that it
Gave me.
I learned more about why I am who I am
On a daily.
I know it may sound crazy.
All right, y'all. Deuces.
Yeah, was born the son of a pastor. He was who I was named after. Matter of fact, I even got some of his characteristics. Both of us got messages for the people. I just do mine with rhythm on beat. He do his on the pulpit with scriptures. Well connected, respected in the community. Ever since I was little, I felt like there was some pressure on me. It started off with little stuff like when my folk brought us to church and then they forced us to get up and say a testimony. Getting older, had to watch how I acted in public, cause people wouldn't hesitate to put that in discussion. Chatting like, is it that the pastor's kid? I'm like, yeah, that's me. But please don't expect me to be exactly like my daddy. Don't discredit my family for how I am. I'm not a little kid no more, I'm now a man. And I ain't pointing fingers, I'm not trying to do no blaming at all. When it comes to how I came up,
Graduation's almost here, my love. Teach me